Hello and welcome to Veil of Death MTG, your go-to spot for all the things Magic the Gathering and cEDH. Today we're diving into the stormy skies of Tarkir Dragonstorm, a brand new set that's about to unleash some serious firepower. And speaking of firepower, did you know that dragons in Tarkir don't bother with eggs? They just burst out of storms like the ultimate party crashers. That's why this video is brought to you by Eggless Wonders, because even dragons know you don't need a shell to make an entrance. Alright, let's roar into the set and check out some of the cards that stood out for me for cEDH. Starting with Taigam, Master Opportunist, a legendary human monk, 2/2 for 1 in the blue. It has Flurry. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, copy that spell, then exile with 4 time counters. If it doesn't have Suspend, it gains Suspend. And we all know what Suspend does, right? As a commander, Taigam wants a spell slinging shell, but last I checked, that's Urza's territory. And copying spells is undercut by that 4-turn suspend delay. Sure, it can copy a rocket, cost 0, but you still have to wait 4 turns for it, and cEDH doesn't wait that long, normally. In the 99, maybe Krark Sakashima could use it for copy effects, or maybe OG Joyra, if that is even in the deck. I think it's just too slow for the meta, so pass on and stick to the OG Taigam. Watch me eat my words in a few weeks. Next we got Narset, jeskai waymaster, a legendary human monk, 3/4 for a red and a blue and a white. At your end step you can discard your hand and draw cards equal to the number of spells cast that turn. As a commander, Narset could lead a jeskai storm deck, leveraging cheap cantrips and Underworld Breach to refill your hand, maybe, 5+ spells a turn for a big draw, since Breach can still be there at the end step trigger. Also, many lists I've seen, including the ones I played against, use Warrior's Oath and Final Fortune effects to take an extra turn, refill, and go for a win from there. It does seem like a fun, spell-heavy type deck worth testing some more, even if I am more partial to Narset Enlightened Exile. Moving on, we got Sidisi, Regent of the Mire, a legendary zombie snake warlock, 1/3 for 1 in a black. Tapper, sacrifice a creature you control with mana value X other than Sidisi. Return target creature card with mana value X +1 from your graveyard to the battlefield. Activate only as a sorcery. I don't think Sidisi could helm a deck, but fits more as a sacrifice support in the 99. However, bear in mind, the target has to have that mana cost, so if you sacrifice a 1-drop, you need a 2-drop in your graveyard. Example in Teleshrasia's My Tentacle Sushi Baby, you can sacrifice an elf, target Vassals Oracle you dumped earlier. If you have no other 2-drop, even Deflecting Swat can't stop you. However, I do not think you can even sacrifice a creature if you have no legal target. Detailed rulings are needed because reading it without officially published rules text, I'm pre-recording this before my big tournament that has already passed by the time you're actually watching this, so I'll ask you, my dear audience, to let me know the oracle text and rulings for this card. Maybe Grist might want it in the 99? I haven't played much Grist in cEDH, so yeah, maybe, yes, no, who knows? Well, that's the first thing that came to mind besides it being a weird birthing pot from a graveyard type effect. Also maybe Yawgmoth, Fran Physician may want it. Mox, Jasper, a 0-cost legendary artifact that taps for any color, but only if you control a dragon. Well, outside of Corvold, who is dragon, we don't really have dragon-heavy fiend decks, and likely won't have anytime soon. However, 2 decks come to mind that may want this in some niche cases, and that's Magda and Yuriko, since both of these play cheap creatures that are changelings and thus every creature type. Sure, funny on paper, but double won't have much of an impact, maybe in 1-2 decks that may rise now or later, I highly doubt it. Voice of Victory, a human bard, 1/3 for 1 in a white, with Mobilize 2. Basically it makes 2 red warrior tokens when it attacks, and sacrifice them at the end of turn. But the main text line for this is, opponents can cast spells during your turn. Now this is a cEDH card. At 2 mana and protects combo turns, Najila and Timna are salivating over this probably. And when you attack 3 people, you draw 3 cards with Timna. Sounds like a dream. Downside maybe that it has to attack to make those tokens, but I guess you swing there where you can. To me it feels as if the Grand Abolisher and the Loyal Apprentice had a baby. A weird, fun baby. I am sure this card will see the most play out of this list. Next on my list is Auroral Procession, an instant for green and a blue, return target card from your graveyard to your hand. Instant speed regrowth for cEDH that only Simic X decks can play? Yes, we have cheaper options than this, but I'm looking fondly on this since I love regrowth. How good will it be? Maybe Kidden can let us know. Glacierwood Siege, an enchantment for 1, a green and a blue. As it enters, choose Temur, mill whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, all soul tie, play lands from your graveyard. I like the cheap versatility of this card. The Temur section is basically for like breach decks, and soul tie mode is more for like non-breach decks. Tasigur, are you calling? I don't know, I was left on red when I tried to consult with him. And maybe I'm just spinning my wheels, but I like this card. Just where to play it though? Maybe really Tentacle Sushi has to come back. Clarion Conqueror, a free dragon for 2 and a white with flying. Activated abilities from artifacts, creatures, or planeswalker cannot be activated. So Stax is back on the menu. Is Stax alive or still a thing? I think we are getting more and more Stax pieces that just flood the meta and do not actually help to win, even if this is a pretty aggressive in terms of what it shuts down at this cost. But still, playing to win instead of playing not to lose is favorable, so I don't think Stax has a place just yet. Wait, listen, can you hear that? The clarion call of all the Stax players bringing out their torches and pitchforks. But now, let's look at a fun card named Breaching Dragonstorm, an enchantment for 4 and a red. When this enchantment enters, exile cards from the top of your library until you exile a non-land card. You may cast it without paying its mana cost, if that spell's mana value is 8 or less. If you don't, put that card into your hand. When a dragon you control enters, return this enchantment to its owner's hand. I call this Baby Etali, and Divergent decks that run just Kitten and Etali like Monsis, Pakon, Haldon are for sure considering this. With Displace Your Kitten out, every spell blinks this to storm off. And even if you hit Etali, well, Etali just casts more spells for Kitten to go nuts. I like this for its fun application, even if in a niche deck. But who said we cannot have fun in cEDH? Play more poly Divergent decks, people. I should also maybe sometimes follow what I preach. Maybe. Nature's Rhythm, a sorcery for green X. Search your library for a creature card with mana value X or less, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle. Also, it has the new ability Harmonize. 4 green, so green and X, cast from your graveyard by tapping a creature to reduce the cost by its power, then exile it. Harmonize may be a fun ability, but let's look at its face value. Sure, it does not search in graveyards like Finale of Devastation or Invasion of Ikoria. But another green tutor straight onto the battlefield even has the same mana cost, like those two that I just mentioned, and who does not like more tutors? I might have tried it in the nothing that is Thalia and Gitrog deck, but I played it before it was released, so instead I will plug my upcoming deck tag here and just say yes to tutors. Tutors are staples of cEDH. Even if it does not get as a high grade as the other two, I would have played this over Invasion of Ikoria, so I could get anything basically that I wanted. Now, onto what might become my pet card from this set, named Stillness in Motion. Wizards, you were so close you could have named it Motionless in Blue. Anyways, Stillness is a 2-mana enchantment for 1 in the blue. At the beginning of your upkeep, mill 3 cards. Then if you have no cards in your library, exile this enchantment and put 5 cards from your graveyard on top of your library in any order. Anytime I can play some weird deck or graveyard manipulation, I get excited. And you may even see play in established decks like Master of Keys or Kess. Remember, the graveyard is just our second hand. Sure, it may be slow and tricky to set up, but this is cEDH. We live for setting up ridiculous shit. And also I do live for Doomsday-esque cards. It's been some time since I played the Master of Keys and I want to play it again before this year ends, for sure. Now that we had a look at the main set a little, let's look at the commander cards, cause yes, Tarkir Dragonstorm has a total of 5 commander decks, 1 for each clan. Also, I am Team Sotai when it comes to pre-release, but I digress. Zurgo, Stormrender, a legendary orc warrior, 3/3 for a red, a black and a white. It has Mobilize 1, so a 1/1 red warrior token on attack that you sacrifice. But the caveat on top, whenever a creature you control leaves the battlefield, draw a card if it was attacking. Otherwise, each opponent loses 1 life. So let's ask that age-old question. Is this a Najeela card? Yes, 100%. Ignore this even as a commander for now, but Najeela, the token warrior queen, it doesn't even matter if the token dies or is bounced. If you block the tokens, they draw cards, and if you try to kill those tokens, you probably will get hurt. And don't get me started on Skull Clamp shenanigans, but we all know that Najeela can really get out of hand. Sure, Najeela has so many good cards and combos off with almost anything. Why not add 1 more, just so we have even more warrior synergy? Najeela players, I mentioned you before, are you rejoicing? Will of the Jeskai, a sorcery for 3 and a red. Choose 1 or both if you control your commander. Mode 1, each player may discard their hand and draw 5 cards. Each instant and sorcery card in your graveyard gains flashback until the end of turn. The flashback cost is equal to its mana cost. That's the second one. So on paper it is a Past in Flames without the flashback and a mini wheel on top. Someone at R&D likes to wheel and storm off because this card is really strong and shines. We already have learned that spells that get even more nuts when you have your commander are a cornerstone of commander, and especially in cEDH. And while the rest of the cycle is more for casual, this can and will see play. And now we get to the final card, Voracious Bibliophile, a free dragon for free in the blue, and it has flying and vigilance, and whenever you cast a spell with one or more targets, draw that many cards. Sure, 4 mana is steep, but control decks like Nimris and Ortalion want this card. Basically any counterspell or bounce becomes a draw spell. Also, remember there's a thing called Hinata, and that commander can go really nuts with targeting a lot of stuff. And even on face value, even if it just sits there and does nothing, it's still a good attacker. And don't get me started how hilarious this is with Brain Freeze, so watch out not to deck yourselves if you try this. And that's my cEDH take on Tarkir Dragonstorm. Let me know in the comments what you think of these cards, and if there are any cards I missed and or that you think will have an impact. Please don't say that blue line, cause that is meh at best in cEDH, but that is my mountain to die on. Hit like, subscribe and ring that bell for more, and may your combos resolve and your dragons reign supreme. I shall watch from behind the veil.